So this is Dan of Vagabond Awake, and we're lucky to have one of our good friends back on the channel, Robert Meade from The Power of Imagination. Robert, it's so nice to see you again.
I think this is number 6 interview.
There's some new people that have joined my channel, and so they don't know you yet. So let's just give them some basics. You're from the United States. What state and when did you leave?
I'm from Las Vegas, Nevada, in the United States, of course. And I was actually born there. So I've lived in 5 countries.
You've been outside the United States mostly for the last few years, at least. Where did you go and during the last few years?
So I had a lot of travel experiences, and as a family, we traveled as a kid. So I had the travel bug early on. But my primary experiences as far as leaving the United States developed toward the end of 2019. I began to imagine myself really becoming Beach Bobby for real, out of the desert and actually living my beach life. And so it started there. I thought I would end up in Thailand initially, but then all of a sudden, as you know, early 2020, COVID came about, and travel was kind of a no-no at that time in the world. It was a challenging situation, but I'd already developed my thinking and my mindset that I was going to have that life. And at that time, Mexico was the only country that was open. It was one of the only countries that you could travel to, and was very convenient because, of course, it's just south of the United States. And in spite of COVID, in spite of all the warnings, and in spite of everybody hunkering down with a mask and staying home, I did quite the opposite. In fact, I convinced my cousin. I invited him to go on a scuba diving trip to Playa del Carmen, which we did in early August. And we were there for about 10 days. It was amazing because there was almost no one there. You have to understand, so many things were closed. We pretty much had the beach and the ocean and the cenote cave diving to ourselves. So that's when I really made the transition to full retirement, as far as no longer going back to my corporate job at Hilton, which I'd been laid off from, and there was all that going on. But you know what? Let's just go for it. So on my own, I decided to come back to Playa del Carmen, and then I lived there for 9 months. And all the time having in mind that I was going to end up in Southeast Asia, because that was my end goal. In early, around March of February, around February or March, I went back to the United States, and I was talking to my daughter. I said, you know what? I really want to go to Southeast Asia, but the Philippines was tough to go to. Thailand was next to impossible. Bali was just giving a little bit of an opening there, and I got a special visa, and I was able to move to Bali, and I was there for 2 years, which was amazing. I know you've got that interview that your friends can watch on your channel.
Yeah,
I think we're approaching 700,000 views, which is mind-boggling. Yeah. But after that, about 7 months ago, I went back to the United States and visited my family for a couple months. And then, I said, you know what? I'm going to move to the Philippines. And so here I am.
Where are you now in the Philippines?
I am in Puerto Galera, one of the places that you strongly recommended in the best places to live. And I went to Baguio, which was one of your other suggestions. I like Baguio, but I love the beach too much, so it wasn't going to be a place that I was going to move to on a long-term basis. So I made my way down to the island of Mindoro, which is about a 2-hour bus ride and about an hour and a half to 2 hours, depending on which ferry you take, and the ocean conditions between the island of Luzon and Mindoro. And north of Mindoro on the coast there is Puerto Galera. And yeah. So I've been here now since about July 1st of this year.
5 months. So one of the things I think you can contribute to my audience is the mind space it takes to leave your home country and move to another country. And so I want to get to that in a moment. But first, people have this idea of the cost of living, and
absolutely. And we can also, I broke down actually my costs. I know your audience is also very interested in, okay, what does it really cost to, following my experiences, based on a lot of it on your advice, of course. I have my feet on the ground. I started I had already researched some of the places I wanted to look at. And between here and Sabang, which is, let's say about a 10 square mile area, are a lot of hotels, condos, apartments, and so forth to choose from. And so I started literally looking for places to stay. So that's where it started.
How did you find these places? Was it on, Airbnb or Facebook or reading signs? How did you find these places that you were looking at?
Well, the places I found, the places that I looked at, I found basically by Googling it, places for rent and condos. And of course, a lot of different sites come up. I didn't do it through Facebook, although that's a fine idea. I actually just wanted to just go, and not based on anybody's advice. I just wanted to, because it had to feel right for me. So I found one place that was going to be about $300 a month, a little less than that, about $280, but it was actually up on the mountain. It was a nice condo, but it was more than I had in mind that I wanted to pay per month. And because I knew there were better deals out there if you keep looking. And it was a little too far from the beach. I wanted to be able to literally walk to the beach from where I'm at. I was walking on the beach. Again, I'm staying at this 𝗂𝐎𝐈𝐕𝐈𝐍𝐆, and I took a break from my researching, and I just took a nice walk on the beach. And I met a lady, and we just struck up a conversation, a young, lovely Filipino lady. And we just started talking, and she asked about where I'm from and what my plan was. I said, actually, I'm looking for an apartment, looking for somewhere to stay, because I'd really like to stay here long term. She says, in my apartment complex, there is one empty room, and I know the owner personally, and she gave me a great deal, and let me see if it's available. So she checked, it was available.
All right.
And I met the lady personally, who owns this fourplex that I'm in now, and she also owns the 𝗏𝐿𝐴's Italian restaurant, which is about a 10-minute scooter ride up the hill. Nice Italian restaurant, by the way. I've actually done a little shorty video on 𝗏𝐿𝐴's Italian restaurant on my YouTube channel. But I talked to her, and she made me the offer for 7,000 pesos a month.
Wow.
Which is the equivalent of about $128, $129. And I checked the place out, and my jaw dropped. I couldn't believe, 2-bedroom, one small room that I really use as an extra room, not a bedroom, a master bedroom, and 2 bathrooms, a full kitchen, refrigerator, availability for Wi-Fi, you name it, it's got it all. Right. And the location is off the hook, because it actually turned out to be right next to 𝗂𝐎𝐈𝐕𝐈𝐍𝐵, where I was staying. So it was really literally 3 minutes to walk my bags over here and move in.
So what about other things like electricity and groceries and restaurants, and what else are you spending?
Absolutely. So let me put on my glasses, because I actually, and I went through it yesterday. So rent $128. And laundry, I call it laundry / housekeeper, and that is is about $15. Yeah, per month.
Wow, that's great.
It's crazy. And she's a sweet young lady that's got a couple children, and she lives close by with her family. And she does a great job. She does my laundry too, like I say.
Wow.
And yeah. So then I put in here also visas. So without going into too much detail, basically it is an average of about $31 a month for my visa. Drinking water, which is, you get the big 3-gallon jugs, about 90 cents a piece, and I get an average of 2 a month is enough for me, because the jugs are quite large. So that's about $2 a month.
Okay.
For purified drinking. I have a gym membership. Now, there's only a couple gym choices here, but my gym membership is 1,000 pesos a month, which is about $18. So okay. I get at least 2 massages a week, and I get 90-minute massages, and they're $10 to $12 plus tip.
Right.
Usually another $100. That works out to about $100 a month. Now, my motorcycle, I chose to buy a motorcycle, and again, I got the deal. I bought a Honda 125 for 300 bucks, plus an additional about $36 a month for gas and about $5 a month for upkeep.
What do you spend per month on average to tours and travel and that kind of thing?
But overall, I say I only spend about $75 average. Some months are going to be more, some months are going to be less, depending on whether I'm going to actually leave the area. So for entertainment, I kind of included alcohol, food, restaurants, and bars, about $200 a month.
Okay.
Yeah, I go out several nights, several days, several nights a week, and might spend anywhere from 600 to 1,000 pesos going out. So it comes out to an average of about $200. Purchases. So there's going to be those purchases, you find things that you're going to need, pots and pans, maybe a blender, toaster, things, fans and so forth and so on. So purchases, I would say I average about $100 a month.
Okay.
I recently got a real good smart home Wi-Fi, which is making a big difference. My Wi-Fi has improved a lot. It's a smart home Wi-Fi. If you're in the Philippines, we're going to come to the Philippines. That's one to consider. I also have what I call unaccounted for expenses, because when I look, I go, my bank statement tells me I'm spending more than I'm telling Dan. So I really wanted to be as transparent as possible. So I added another $100 for unaccounted.
Okay.
All right. Total came out to $1,021.
Wow. That's great.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much it. So around $1,000 a month, and that's not living frugally. That's going out quite often. That's shopping both in grocery stores, local type grocery stores, to get great deals, and also, I love going to the open markets, and the fresh vegetables are amazing, and the fruit here is amazing.
That's great, Robert. You give people a good idea of what. So now, is that for a dating man? I mean, are you dating much now, or how's that going?
Well, that's actually going very well. Guess what? It was a lady that I met on the beach that told me about the apartment, and her apartment, how convenient, is actually just upstairs from above mine. So she's become a very good friend, and more than a friend, really. We're I would say in the courtship stage, but she's a very responsible woman. And although I had met several ladies before her, after arriving here, most of them much younger, she's actually 50.
Okay.
Which is actually proving to be a wise move, because she looks like a healthy 35. She's very petite and lovely, but and her energy level, we match in so many ways. And the way I met her was very organically. Again, I met her on the beach, so I didn't meet her on the dating sites. I didn't meet her in a bar, right? I didn't meet her through any arranged meeting online.
Yeah.
It was literally, we just started with hello, and then after getting to know her, I just kept checking off the boxes and saying, this lady is amazing. She actually fits everything I'm interested in. So I know a lot of your viewers use the dating sites, and I have in the past, but this happens so naturally.
So, Robert, I think one of the things, so the people that haven't seen your previous videos, you're an imagination coach. In other words, you teach other people how to imagine the kind of life they want and how to manifest it or have it come true for them. But I think people would be interested in hearing, what did you go through when you were making that decision? Hey, I grew up and lived in the United States most of my life, but now I'm going to move overseas. And what gave you the courage and what was the mental thinking that went into that?
No, that's a great question. It really comes down to your thinking, or as we discussed earlier, repositioning your thinking. Okay, so Earl Nightingale years ago made a recording called the Strangest Secret. And in The Strangest Secret, he made the statement that we become what we think about. So what is your thinking? What is your mindset? The other thing is, along with that, William Blake, philosopher, teacher, and author from a couple hundred years ago, said that what seems to be is to whom it seems to be. So if you have limited thinking and you feel you know, all this stuff, these amazing traveling that Bobby does to Bali and Playa del Carmen and all the stuff he shows on his YouTube site, and all the stuff that Dan shows, and going to, you know, what is it, close to 70 countries now?
Pretty close, yeah, 67.
Yeah, yeah. They look at that and they just drool and they say, "Oh, I wish I could do that, but my circumstances, my bank account, my nobody in my life has ever done that." You know what? Their mindset might be, "I just can't see myself doing that. I can't imagine having that lifestyle." And so that's what seems to be to them. And if that's your mindset and we become what we think about, you're going to continue to be stuck in that mindset. So I actually have been studying the law of attraction and what Neville Goddard calls the law of imagination, law of assumption rather, for quite a few years. And I've been practicing and living that lifestyle for many years, actually. So in late 2019, before COVID, I'd actually already formulated the picture. And one of the key things, Dan, in brief, I want to keep this brief for you, is the idea that you want to imagine that you can be that person living that lifestyle, and then you want to think from it. Let me explain real quick. It's one thing to think about something. Oh, that would be amazing to be on that beach that Dan is showing with his lovely girlfriend. That would be a great lifestyle to do what Bobby did and so forth, or that you and I are doing. But then to put yourself there. So as you just say in a practical way, you need to get your feet on the ground. But a lot of people are so stuck, they don't even take that step. They say, well, when better times come, you know, there's tough things going on economically in this country and that, or in the world. This is happening in the world. This is happening in my local community. I'm just not ready. Well, as long as you think that way, you know, it's called the getting ready to get ready mindset, right? As long as you feel that way, it's not going to happen. So I actually developed the vision of having my feet in the sand. This is the idea of living from it. So I wasn't looking at myself sitting on the beach in some exotic location. I was actually looking at my feet at the ocean with the waves coming up, rolling up on my legs. So I envisioned myself dwelling in it and being in it. And I thought from it. So I would fall asleep, literally imagining and thinking that every night. I would write it out every day. And I really literally was becoming that person. So when I was laid off and got COVID in April of 2020, I had already had the mindset that I was going to retire and move and live somewhere exotic, but I didn't know where yet. It wasn't about where yet. It wasn't about how. Although in a practical way, of course, you need to make sure you have your money set up, your finances, and your channel, of course, knocks it out of the park for all of that. Everyone should be looking at your reports and how to live that life in a practical manner. But you need to have it here first. So you need to believe it, and then you'll see it. Then you will be able to say, you know what, I can see my life living here. That's why when the master diver in Playa del Carmen said, you'll need to move here for a couple months, I said, okay, I'm going to do it. And then I ended up there 9 months. It was absolutely phenomenal. And then as you start to do it, as you say, get your feet on the ground, you just have to have the courage to go for it, really. And from there, you can continue to develop and work on the mindset through reading, study, meditation. And that's really what my coaching is about. I help people to see that within themselves, and then it actually literally becomes their world if they put faith on it and move forward. Just take the steps. Just do it.
That's great. And your channel is very inspiring in that regard. And people should definitely go over there and join or subscribe to your channel and start watching your videos, because it's a real eye opener. And the fact that you're actually walking your talk is what for me makes the difference. I mean, you're teaching things that you're personally doing and you're succeeding at. And it's I think that's really what makes the difference for people. It's easier for them to believe it and for them to follow through. And I'm sure that's why you're successful at what you do in coaching people.
And that's absolutely it. It really is. So I know that every day I'm going to meet nice people. I have no problem talking to people because I know that I'm going to meet nice people. You put out that vibration and energy.
Yeah.
I'm a 70s guy, so good vibes, bad vibes, right? I truly believe in that. So you put out that energy and you smile and greet people, and they give that right back to you.
Yeah.
So meeting women, meeting people, making friends for me is easy because I know that it's easy.
Yeah.
Finding great deals, my amazing, great priced apartment in Playa del Carmen, my house for $1,000 a year in Bali, right? My apartment for $128 a month, living close to the beach, literally a 3-minute walk from here, and that's a casual walk.
Yeah.
I call it a tsunami away from the beach. I'm up by the little, they call it their main road where I live. You literally walk down a trail through the forest and it opens up to the beach. So I imagined myself as having that life and getting it affordably, right? And that's what happened. So when you believe that, you don't go somewhere and they tell you it's $300 or $400 a month and say, oh, okay, I guess that's the going rate. I guess that's what I'll pay. No, you know there's deals for under 200, right?
Yeah.
And so you keep open to that. You know it's going to happen. And I know this sounds kind of, supernatural, but it really is. It happens for you. But you really do have to change your thinking. So what I do is I work with everyone, your self-concept of yourself. And I have literal processes, which we don't have time to get into. But if they go to my channel, they'll see a lot of those processes where you can develop the mindset. It's not just wishing and hoping. You literally change the synapses and connections in you really actually change at a genetic level. This has been confirmed through studies with Dr. Joe Dispenza. So this is not just pie in the sky, I hope it can happen stuff. These are methods and techniques that actually work. Okay? Right. So I actually have living proof because I've had clients in 45 countries now.
Wow, that's amazing.
This is not something new that I'm just going to try out. No, I've been studying and practicing this stuff for close to 40 years.
It's spectacular, Bobby. I really just so happy you were come on the channel and tell your story. And you know what? Can you think of a video that if people could click up here, I would like to put a video up here where they can go watch what you're talking about on your channel. Can you think of one?
And on my channel, I also have 6 interviews of actual people around the world that I've coached and their success.
Thank you so much, Robert, for coming on the channel. Everybody go over there and watch Robert's video. Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Robert.
Travel on, Dan.
Okay. Take care. Till the next time.